everybody, to our Arcview Access webinar on the global evolution of medical marijuana. I'd like to first introduce Larry Lisser, CEO and founder at HelloMD, which is a leading digital provider of non-traditional healthcare services in the United States and Canada. Hey, Larry, how's it going?
Hey, Lewis, good to see you.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us. I have to say it's been such a shift from seeing each other at conferences that seemed like they were happening every other week to going fully virtual now. I remember one of the first times I met you in person was at a cannabis event in San Francisco 4 or 5 years ago. But cannabis has thankfully been deemed an essential industry in so much of the United States despite COVID. I mean, how much has COVID impacted your business?
And I should say, Lewis, I remember that. I also remember the first event I ever went to in medical cannabis was in an Arcview event in Las Vegas, I think in sometime 2015. So we've been around a long time. Thank you for having me and for having my guests today. We really appreciate it. You know, as to your question, look, I would imagine that everybody here has either experienced firsthand or has certainly observed the hypergrowth in tele or digital health that's been brought on by this pandemic. It's if you look across industries, it's a wave that is lifting many boats actually. But there's a subplot that we've been following along carefully, which is that for all the growth in telehealth, most of it continues to be centered around conventional healthcare, and it's happening at a time coincidentally where the trend towards alternative or more natural healthcare options like cannabis is also growing very quickly. In fact, I saw a stat the other day that said almost $100 billion was spent in the last year on complementary or alternative healthcare services. So today I like to think about our virtual business this way. We deliver the types of trusted advice and services people just cannot depend on their primary care provider for. And what do I mean by that is that try asking your primary care provider for advice on cannabis, asking them about whether you should have a vitamin B shot, or maybe more recently with the news, ask them whether a psychedelic might help with chronic anxiety. There may be an awkward pause in the conversation. We, on the other hand, have come to love these types of questions. So indeed, the pandemic has created a tremendous opportunity for us, and we're taking full advantage of it by making more out-of-the-box healthcare solutions available to more people in more places as we go ahead.